So, welcome to the Black Girl Curls 10 questions with a pro or 10 common questions with a pro. Today, we are here with Carlisa, who is also known as Protected by Lisa in the social space. Lisa, would you like, I call her Lisa sometimes because we work together. She's one of the mentees from, one of my mentees, and she's also an alum of Cut It Kinky. So, Carlisa, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Carlisa. I'm a stylist here in Chicago, Illinois. I focus on natural hair and protective styles, but I started off as a protective stylist. So that's me.
Okay, so you started out as a protective stylist, and what were you mainly doing?
So I was mainly doing braids, faux locks, goddess locks, twists from time to time, but definitely closer to the lock side and like braid side.
Okay. And just a quick question, just for those wondering, what made you transition over into, away from braids? Well, not really away, or doing what changed? What changed for you?
So, as I was braiding, I was getting a lot of hair that just wasn't cared for. And I was just like, so what's up with the hair? How can we improve this? And, what would you do if you had the tools to be able to take care of it? And a lot of people were like, well, I would take better care of it. So I was like, okay, let me shift my business model and start to educate folks on how to care for their hair before we do the protective style. So that way, at least when they're doing them, they're not coming out worse, because that was happening a lot. And that was pretty much the reason why I decided to do it.
Okay, so I think that's awesome to know, because I don't think a lot of people are aware of the impact that protective styling, that's what we call it here over Black Girl Curls, it's in air quotes, the impact that it actually has on hair. But we're going to get right into some common questions that tend to come up with protective styling. So we're going to start with, how do you know when your hair is ready for a protective style? I think this is a great question from what we just talked about, such as braids, twists, faux locks, and etc. Like, how do you know when the hair is ready?
So one, having an established routine that is already situated where you're giving your hair moisture on a regular basis is super important, because protective styling, well, like you said, protective styling is a somewhat dehydrating style. It's just helpful to make sure your hair is at the highest point of hydration before you go in and take it away from it for an extended time. So establishing that routine is first. And if you are somewhat like, I don't have a consistent routine yet, then it might not be ideal for you to jump into that.
And when we say consistent routine, we're saying that there's cleansing, let me rewind. Cleansing with shampoo. I know a lot of people think that we emphasize this a lot, but there are a lot of folks out there who are not necessarily using shampoo as a method of cleansing. But the only way stylists only recognize shampoo, cleanser with shampoo. That's the only thing we recognize.
Yes.
So I want to clarify that. Conditioning and styling, and this needs to be done regularly meaning every 7 to 10 days, 14 if life gets crazy. And we do understand that life does get crazy, or you have some circumstances in your life that prevent you from doing your hair. We get it, we totally get it. But if you're not doing that regularly, according to Carlisa here, who is an expert I want to be clear. She is an expert on protective styling. You will not be able, or you should not. She doesn't recommend that you go into those styles. So, next question. When experiencing an itchy scalp while in protective styles, what should you do?
Okay, so I get this question a lot, and the number one thing to do is to not grab oil. Don't grab oil or additional products, but to wash your hair. There are a lot of different reasons why your scalp could itch as a result of a protective style. It could be an allergy to the hair. It could be an allergy to some of the products that were used, or it could just be your hair just really needs a cleanse because you have so much product packed on top after getting that install, or just after applying so many things. So washing it is definitely going to be helpful with alleviating anything that's causing discomfort to your scalp, so that way it's not itching and bothering you no more.
And if it does itch, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, take it down. Take it down.
Sometimes
Take
that
it
is the
down.
route.
Take it down. I had braids last summer, and I shampooed them, conditioned them a week after I got them installed, and they were still itchy. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I just went out. I know, you guys spend X amount of dollars on getting these styles done, but even with that being said, if it causes you discomfort, and I'm going to put this as a blanket statement, anything, if a product causes you discomfort, if a braid causes you discomfort, if a installation of any sort causes you any discomfort, that is a signal to take it down. Take it down.
Just get rid of it.
Just take it down. We got to start having these conversations. But I'm glad that you pointed out all of those things that could be causing the itch. Okay, next question. Should we wash our hair while in a protective style? If so, how often should we do so?
So definitely you should be still cleansing your scalp and your hair that's exposed while you have your protective style in. Typically I suggest to my clients every 7 to 10 days, but it just depends on how active they are and the environment they're in. We're headed into May, and in some areas it might be really hot, so you might sweat a little bit more in your scalp, and especially if you're somebody who's working out and things like that, you might want to cleanse on that 7-day timeline in comparison to 10 days. So just, when your scalp is uncomfortable and when it's starting to get itchy. So just paying attention to that is also helpful.
And itchy does not mean add oil.
No.
No, and we're not saying that to be malicious. We're not laughing because we know a lot. We're laughing because these are common questions that have come up in the salon, and we have a lot of mindset work to do in terms of how we care for and care for and maintain our hair. That without a doubt, very important. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. What are healthy hair tips one should follow with their hair in a protective style?
Okay, that's a good question too. So we mentioned something already about cleansing it on a regular basis. That is key, number 1. 2, not packing in a ton of products while you have in that install. That is a big thing. I see a lot of folks put in braid sprays, gels, oils, all of that stuff in attempts to refresh a style. And sometimes when you go in to take that down, that product is still present. Even if you've been trying your best to wash it out, sometimes it's still there. And so that can make it more difficult to take that style down. So we want to get away from that. And then also not keeping it in for too long. That is a big part of while you have it in there. So if you've had your hair in that style and it's been about 6 weeks, it is time to go ahead and take it out. I totally understand.
Take it down.
Folks. Yes. Just go ahead. It's been 6 weeks, it's time. And after you've taken that out, giving your hair a chance to, in a sense, breathe and be without that style for a bit is also going to be helpful. So you can actually care for your real hair instead of just putting it back into the next style and, in a sense, dehydrating it even more. So those would be the big things.
Because you said a bit. I feel like I like to give a time span of what a bit means, because everybody's a bit is different. And I would say, I know you're the professional on this end, right? But I would say, because if your hair is in good condition, it takes about 2 to 3 shampoos for it to bounce back in good condition.
Yes.
I would say you need to spend at least minimum 4 to 8 weeks before you go back in to give the hair time to reestablish hydration again.
Yes, definitely. I like to say I learned from a dermatologist, typically for as long as you have the style in. So initially I would say give yourself about 2 to 4 weeks, but after hearing that, I'm like, you know what? That does make sense, giving your scalp especially a longer period of time to just get back on its normal routine and not having stuff on top of it, irritating it and whatnot. So giving yourself time, like Aisha just mentioned, about that 4-ish to 6 or even longer weeks that you've had in that style. So if you had something in and it's been like maybe 3 to 4 weeks, then you could do 3 to 4 weeks of a break.
I think that's great advice. We try to be pretty sound when it comes to information. And most importantly, I think for us both, it's always about the overall goal. Like, what is your goal? Because this is just a hairstyle, and this hairstyle gonna be over. But what's the goal of the hair moving forward? Like, what are we trying to do? So I think keeping that at the forefront of every decision you make about your hair. If your goal is for your hair to be, because I know these are the goals that y'all have online, you know, for your hair to be waist length. I don't know why y'all want that much hair. It's not my business though.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work. Okay. It's already bad enough that people are taking excessively long to actually do their hair, right?
Yes.
But if your goal is to have waist length hair, then there are certain things that you need to do. And honestly, they don't involve protective styling. I know y'all clutch your pearls. We'll talk about it later. How long would you recommend, Carlisa, that protective styles should be kept in? I think we touched on this a little bit.
Yeah, so it depends on the style that you have. All styles have different timelines. Like maybe you had feed-in braids. Those are probably not going to last you 6 weeks. Maybe you had knotless braids. Those might give you 6 weeks. So depending on what style you have, that might change how long you keep something in. But generally, I always suggest don't go any longer than 6 to 8 weeks. And 8 is just the cushion for 6. And that's just maybe it's taking you a little bit longer to take your hair down than what you planned for. So you might be going a little bit over 6 weeks, but you're not intentionally trying to drag it out that long. So just give me y'all some grace.
Right.
Tiny bit.
I would suggest, I mean, y'all didn't ask me, but I would suggest when you get your braids to timeline, like where's 6 weeks and where's 8 weeks, and then make a date with your hair for the takedown.
Yes.
Because when you come out of this style, you're definitely going to need to do some treatments to your hair. It's not just like going in and shampoo and that's a whole, but that's another day, another discussion for another time, because taking down the braids is a whole nother story.
Yes. It is.
One more thing I want to ask you about, because I think this kind of relates to this question, Carlisa. What do you think about this current trend of people, I guess, refreshing like 9 of their braids? What do you think about this?
Are you talking about like crocheting, refreshing?
I've seen that too. Yes, that.
Yeah. So when I speak about refreshing, I usually speak about it like those braids are being removed. That maybe it's the first 2 rows, or maybe it's the perimeter of your braids, and maybe you're taking that down, washing that hair, and then reinstalling the braids. That I find to be okay, but also you're not going to keep that style in for another 6 weeks. That's something that just helps so your edges aren't being pulled on and things like that. But not a way to like prolong the style for a very long time. Maybe like 2 more weeks. The crochet method, I really, really was so nervous when I saw it, because I was just like, oh my gosh, how are you going to get this knot out when you take this braid down? Because you have interlocked your hair pretty much, and now you have a knot that will continue to have more debris, more buildup and things in there, and now that's going to be even harder for you to detangle when you're taking it down. So I'm just not a fan. If you are looking for a way to refresh, I would suggest taking the braids down, getting them redone, whether that's your perimeter or something along those lines, but definitely not crocheting stuff and making it harder to take it down.
Okay, thank you for that, because I have seen so many horror stories about people taking down, well, it ain't my horror, but it sounds horrible to me, because you didn't go into the style with the intention of losing hair. Like, people are cutting too much hair off. The hair is just in such a condition from the amount of time that the style has been in. To speak on faux locks too, real quick, those are not like long-term styles. Like, they should be, they're the most fragile of all the styling out there, if I'm not mistaken, the faux locks specifically.
Yes, they are the heaviest. They have the most weight to them. And a lot of people assume them to be great vacation styles, but really, I wouldn't suggest jumping off a boat into an ocean or any body of water with a head full of faux locks. That is a ton of hair. It's going to be really heavy. It's going to take a long time to dry. No. So I feel like they're one of those, like, I really wanted to do something special and different type of styles, just because it's a lot of things that come along with it, you know?
Okay. That sounds not comfortable, and it does not sound fun for vacation. Just
No, no. Just get the braids. Just get the braids and wear your hair. That's fine.
Okay, Carlisa, when does a protective style become harmful for your hair?
It becomes harmful when your hair isn't taken care of to begin with. So if we are putting in the protective styles as a way to get healthier hair, or as a way to get away from doing our hair for a while till it gets to the length we want it to be in, we're neglecting our hair up until that point. And so what I've seen behind the chair is I've had some folks come in sometimes and maybe they've had mid-length hair or a taper cut, and they're like, I want to keep it in braids until I get to shoulder length. And let's say maybe that's for a year. Your hair has been dehydrated for a year. It might not hold a style well. You might need a major haircut. So it can become harmful in that way. I think we have to change our mindset around thinking that there are a way to shortcut to healthy hair or a way to bypass the care you have to give your hair, because it really isn't. It's just literally a different way. Like, oh, I'm deciding to do a twist out this week instead of a wash and go. It's just a different style. It's not a way to, kind of cut the line to get ahead. If anything, and when you're doing that, it tends to cause issues down the line.
I have to say, I totally agree with you. And also, I think we need to touch on the fact that people think that putting their hair in protective styles is a way to give themselves a break.
Yeah.
Really, it is okay, I want you guys to take a deep breath before I say this. But there's a level of neglect attached to wearing protective styles. Because of our idea behind them, we'd put them in. It's like set it and forget it. This is not the air fryer, friends. It's not the air fryer up here.
No,
it's not
the air fryer.
You can pop something in the air fryer and go on with your life.
Yes.
No. If you got goals, ain't no pop it in and go on with your life. No. That's not how any of this works. And I'm actually thinking of an experience I had with braids in college. I got some individual braids. God bless the ladies who did my individual braids. That took 13 hours to do. We'll never do that again.
Yes.
But I had a relaxer at the time, and I wore them for the entire summer because I was away at school. I stayed for summer school. I wore those braids for maybe 2.5 months, because that was the, that was the narrative. You could put them in, you should wear them for 2 months.
Yeah.
Baby, when my hair came out of those braids, I have the kind of hair that literally has really good curl, memory for styling. You curl my hair when I was relaxed, you could curl it, and my curls, I would wrap my hair up every night, and my curls would last 4 or 5 days before they would fall. And so I came out of those braids, maybe the curls was gone an hour after I had done my hair. It took my hair 6 months to bounce back for those braids. And I was like, oh no, I'm out the game.
Yep.
Never again. Because
that one time.
It takes one time. And when we're talking about relaxed hair, it's a whole different set of, circumstances and requirements. But knowing what it takes to get your hair back at what we like to call stasis. We just want to get it, we just want to be here all the time. But sometimes we go here and then we got to get back. And sometimes the braids can take you so far away from there that it's just the only way to get back is with shears. I know y'all don't want to hear that.
Man, it's hard to say sometimes, but sometimes you just see it and you're like, you know what? We're going to have to cut some of this and, start over. It's okay.
Yeah. It'll be pretty though. It's going to be so healthy. And we're not wearing braids for 12 months at least. No. At least. They're like, what? No braids? Okay, Carlisa, what are a few tips that can help prevent thinning edges while in a protective style?
So I like to say be very selective about your braider. That is the biggest thing. Looking at their work and just paying attention to the hairlines of the folks that you see, making sure you don't see redness or bumps and things like that and discomfort. Just for you to know, I'm going to somebody that is not about to snatch my soul with these edges. That is the biggest thing. Secondly, if you do start to feel some discomfort around this, like it's pulling or it's not really as secure as normal, go ahead and take it out. It's okay to take it out. You can lay that down. Sometimes I do that myself, especially around my hairline, closer to my ear where this hair is very fine. I'll take these braids out sometimes if it's been 4 weeks out of my install or 3 weeks, and I'm like, okay, this is enough. I'll go ahead and take that out and kind of tuck it behind. And that's just an effort to not over-tire that hair or to make it to the point where it's just don't want to come out and it's not going to come back. So that would be a big tip. And then also, if you do have finer hair, staying away from the heavier hairstyles. We just talked about faux locks. Faux locks are not ideal if you have finer hair. The hair is way too heavy. You're basically wrapping a box braid with additional hair. So that is a lot if you have finer hair. I have seen a lot of times where that hair will break off completely as a result of that.
Wow.
So just picking styles that are going to be beneficial. So if you do have finer hair, something like knotless braids might be better for you because they aren't as taut on those edges like a faux lock would be. So just keeping in mind, like, there are a lot of cute styles out here. We might not be able to do all of them, but just keeping in mind, okay, if my hair looks like this, maybe I don't need a lot of weight on those edges. And that'll be super helpful.
I love that you pointed out about fine hair because of all the people, though fine hair folks, and I even would say those who are tender-headed who have tender scalps, have to be mindful of the styles that they choose, because that tension not only can be comfortable, but it could possibly pose a risk for compromising your hair. And what we don't want to do is compromise any of the hair. So yes, please be mindful of the styles that you're choosing. And even if you have hair that is coarse, I don't even think I could survive for faux locks, honestly. And you know how coarse my hair is. My hair didn't survive the braids last year. Like,
it definitely is, like you said, having color treated hair, that's also another conversation in relation to braids. Like, I tell folks with color treated hair, giving yourself time, let the color get a little older so your hair isn't as weakened when you do it, doing treatments before you get the braids, after the braids. And then also, my color folks, they cannot go longer than 3 to 4 weeks. Because a lot of them, the hair is already dehydrated. And we're doing stuff even more dehydrating. So for somebody like that, you're already starting out more dehydrated than somebody else.
I'm starting here. I want to be here. I'm here. Yeah. And when you were talking about this hair along the edges, this is called this hair would be considered the vellus hair, and this hair is so fine to begin with. It is everybody, I don't care who we're talking about, everybody's edges are fragile. So we need to treat all of our edges like newborn babies, like with care. And we say this as hairstylists because we like to get in the front of things. We don't want to like cause something and then it escalates into a thing. We're trying to prevent things from happening. So if your stylist, like, you ask for something, your stylist is like, no ma'am, you need to she's not saying no ma'am because she don't feel like doing it, or they don't feel like doing it, or they don't, well, sometimes we don't think it looks good on you, but that's another story for another day. But no, seriously, it's because for a lot of stylists, the health of your hair is at the forefront of every single appointment that we have with you. So I want you all to be able to take that away. There are a lot of stylists who care about the condition of your hair, but it is up to you to choose to partner with stylists who share such a philosophy as well. Okay, Carlisa, what is the best way to preserve protective styles at night?
So I like to use just a regular scarf. I like scarves because I feel like they're more secure than bonnets, especially the longer bonnets, because most times they end up on the floor when you sleep. But now they're starting to be those tighter bonnets, I think, where it's just
I've seen those concern me. They concern me.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know about that being on your hairline all night, every night. So I'm more of a scarf person. Sometimes if your hair is starting to get a little bit older, maybe it's been 3 to 4 weeks, you can put some mousse on your hair before you go to sleep, well, just on the style itself, and then tie it down overnight. But just making sure you're keeping your edges preserved and that style pretty much as fresh as possible. Tying it down is gonna be helpful.
And I wanna I wanna reiterate, put the mousse on the braid, not on your scalp. I see a
Hmm.
lot of I see a lot of people doing it, and I'm like, that's gonna be itchy. I already know
Hmm.
it's going to be itchy like in about 3 to 5 days. That is going to be itchy. So avoid putting the product directly on your scalp and focus more on the actual braid.
Yep. Yep. Because you're trying to keep it sleek. That's the focus of it. We want to put it on there to lay it down so it looks nice. So just keep that in mind when
Keep it in
y'all doing
mind.
it.
Keep it in mind. We just trying to help out. That's all. We just collectively we want to help the community. That's what we want to do. Okay, last question, Carlisa. If I get my hair wet from swimming or other water activities, how should I clean the chlorine or salt water from my hair?
So if we are on vacation, I always suggest to bring you like little mini shampoo and conditioner bottles with you, just so you can go in and wash your hair, because ultimately that's what you're going to need to do. So this is another reason why I mentioned a little while ago, braids would be better for your vacation over something heavy like faux locks. Braids don't take as long to dry. So you could go wash your hair air dry by the pool or what have you, and you're good. But faux locks, you might be a little drippy later when you go out to dinner. So that way, at least you can get in, rinse that out, wash it out, and then go on about your day. So your essentials when you're traveling: your mini shampoo, mini conditioner, and then a mousse, and you are okay.
Now, with the faux locks, this is totally out of our questions, but with the faux locks, does the length matter in terms of them being heavy? They're just heavy in general because of the wrapping of the additional extension hair around it.
I feel like in comparison to other styles, they're heavier in general. So when I think about like knotless braids or spring twists versus faux locks, spring twists and knotless braids are a lot lighter than the faux locks are. And like you said, it's the method of how much additional hair you're wrapping around. Now, some folks are doing soft locks now, which is like a crochet method to attach a pre-made lock to your hair. That one is a little bit lighter, but it still has more weight than a traditional like just braid or twist, and that's just the amount of hair being used. Like it's just not the same amount, and so it does make it heavier, especially when you add that water into the equation. And my whole thing on vacation is you want to enjoy it. You don't want to have to worry about your hair being something else you got to worry about.
Right.
So either wear your natural hair in a style that's going to be flexible for your trip, or like I said, braids of some sort. There's so many variations of that to accommodate while you're gone.
Okay, so Carlisa, I love the tip about, understanding, because I never even considered the weight of faux locks and then going on vacation. I think that probably is the biggest takeaway for me, although you wouldn't see me with a braid or anything on
Yes.
vacation because not that I don't like them. I just have not the time it takes me, I could have did something else with the time to get the braids. And also I know cute ways to deal while I'm on vacation with my hair. And also I do not mind wearing my hair like this on vacation. I will show up to a dinner just like this
Yes,
on
that's why I'm like,
vacation.
it's okay. You can wear your hair. Yeah.
No, but I love that you made that differentiation in terms of thinking about one. Yeah, listen, lifestyle is so important when it comes to our hair, and so choosing something that aligns with not only your desired look, but also aligning that with your lifestyle is so important. So I want to thank Carlisa for coming through with the protective style experience here because she has way more experience than I do when it comes to protective styles. But I appreciate you for sharing your knowledge with us today. And I will tell you guys, if y'all have more questions y'all feel like Carlise did not answer, drop a comment below and maybe there might be a part two if y'all got enough questions that just you feel like she ain't hit it on these things. And if she has time in her schedule, because she has a life, she is also newly engaged. Congratulations again.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll come back. I think this was amazing. I feel so much more comfortable about making a decision to get braids in the future. And you guys can find Carlisa on Instagram at Protected by Lisa. She also has you have a book about taking care of your braids, right?
Yeah, so I have a e-guide that I created. It is called Protective Stylist Anonymous Guide to Healthy Hair. So I created it for folks who are like, I'm doing protective styles because I just don't know what else to do. And I'm trying to figure out how to get started on doing this healthy hair thing and how to better take care of my hair, transition out of these styles, and how to care for it while I'm doing all of that. So I wanted to give you all something to just have with you at home while you're navigating that. And I do have that available.
Where can they find it, Lisa?
It's on my website, so www.themissinglinksalon.com. If you are on any of my socials, my links are available as well, and that way we can access it either way.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you again to Lisa, and we hope that this has been super helpful in you deciding whether to do a protective style and also which protective style to choose, again, based on your lifestyle and your own personal hair. Like, because we need to keep our hair in mind when we're doing stuff to our hair, not everybody else's hair, our hair. So we hope that helps with you guys deciding that. Until the next episode of 10 Common Questions with the Pro, we will see you next time.
All right. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.